Hi, this is Mark News from Plant Talk Radio. Thanks for subscribing and listening to our podcast, Your Gardening Questions from Plant Talk Radio. If you have a gardening question you'd like our host Fred Howard to answer, send him an email. The email address is fred@planttalkradio.com. Now for today's question. And we had several email questions this week. It's easy to email us a question. Just go to our website, planttalkradio.com. and click on the Ask Fred button. And this one came in from Sue. And she says, I was in a beautiful garden in North Carolina last summer, and along the sidewalk there was a plant about 2 feet tall with small purple flowers, and the tag said lamb's ear. Can you tell me a little bit more about it, and would it be a good plant for here in Ohio?
Yeah, it's actually a beautiful plant. It has a very soft gray, downy foliage. And it actually is more grown for the foliage and may not always bloom up here in Ohio, but obviously further south it can bloom, and that's when it'll look a lot taller than you might normally see. So up here it's quite common, the lamb's ear, and it's grown as a perennial and more of a ground cover. And the only downside with all that very soft, downy, almost cottony foliage, it can get a little too wet at times, and the foliage may sort of get some diseases there, and you just prune them up. And this time of year, you'll start to see it coming back, and you clean up the old leaves. It'll look really beautiful in the spring. Just may look a little bit tired in the summer with the heat and any thunderstorms. But it's a good hardy plant and adds a nice color and a nice texture to the garden.
And where would be a good place for that in the garden, and what type of soil does that like?
Yeah, well, like most plants, it would prefer better than we normally have, and so just amend the clay soil if you can, but it'll grow in the clay soil okay. Sunny location and the front of the border generally, so you can enjoy that foliage, and maybe in a group of 3 to 5, and it'll spread, so it'll kind of grow around your other plants, but that really nice white-gray color offsets the other plants.
Hey, thanks again for listening to our podcast. Be sure to subscribe to our other podcasts as well, the Plant of the Week podcast and the Plant Talk Radio podcast, all on iTunes or your favorite podcast player. If you'd like to sponsor a daily podcast, contact us at fred@planttalkradio.com. To find out more about Fred Howard and Plant Talk Radio, visit our website, planttalkradio.com.
Circle270media.com